Welcome to Shooting Straight with Brad and David. I'm David Klaus, your Navajo County Sheriff, and my partner.
And I'm Brad Carline, your Navajo County Attorney.
This month we're joined with Brad Provost, Chief of Police for the City of Shoalo. And thank you for joining us and welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So Brad, recently Chief Joe Shelley had retired from law enforcement. He had been the Chief of Police for about 7 years.
Yes, that's correct.
And now you have been appointed as the new Chief of the City of Shoalo.
Yes, I took over May 14th as the chief. So excited to step into the new role.
So tell us a little bit about you. I know a lot of the residents here in Shoalo know you. You've been wearing that uniform for over 3 decades.
Yep.
But maybe some of our viewers from outside of Shoalo not familiar with where you came from and some of your background.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up here. Actually went to school in Pinedale up till junior high and then moved into Shoalo. Graduated from Shoalo High School. During that time I had joined the cadet program at Shoalo Police Department. And then right after high school, the chief at the time, John Corder, offered me the opportunity to go to the police academy. So 2 weeks out of high school I went to the Arizona Law Enforcement Training Academy in Tucson and started as a patrol officer with Shoalo in 1986 and have been with them ever since.
So they must not have had the age limitations they have now then when you went to the training academy.
That is correct. At that time, the age 21 age requirement was a department rule, not a state law. They have since changed that. You have to be 21, but at that time it was 18.
And so you went to the academy at the age of 18.
I did.
You couldn't even buy your own gun.
I couldn't buy ammunition. So that was a little fun, but yeah. So yeah, I've been with the department ever since, worked my way up through the ranks, have served in various roles, and finally coming up, I went into DROP 2.5 years ago, which is a retirement option plan. And so basically I'm under contract that you can do that for 60 months and you have to leave. So I've got about 2.5 years left under that contract.
Over your 35 plus years of being involved with the Shoalo PD, you must have seen a lot of changes.
I have.
What are some of the ones that strike you the most?
The biggest thing is the growth. The growth in our area. The number of people that have moved in, the growth in infrastructure. You know, when I started, it was a 2-lane highway going up to Pine Top. You know, no stoplights except for one downtown. There wasn't a Walmart. I think Safeway had just come in. So there's been a lot of growth. The other thing I think is we as a profession and an area have become much more professional. You know, as we've grown up, the profession has definitely again become more professional, and a lot of that started I think after Rodney King and some of those events that have forced us to invest in more training and education and those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, Shoalo's gone through some accreditation programs. CALIA, is that what you guys did?
Yes, for about 9 years we were internationally accredited through the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies.
Which helps bring a lot of that professionalism you're talking about, some standard procedures of what the best practices are across this country, across the state. And it's always cool to see local agencies that are doing that. So we're all working at a higher level.
We are, and you know what's really nice about our area, and you know if you travel a lot, you can see the benefit that we have of the agencies up here work so well together. You know, it's really one team. When we have incidents in that, our officers work together. It doesn't matter what color uniform you wear.
Yeah, I'd have to say one of your first challenges for Chief was a couple Saturdays ago. We had a kind of a large traumatic scene on the Deuce of Clubs here.
We did, and again, that was a multi-agency response that demonstrated our working relationships with other agencies. You know, you had Navajo County, you had Pine Top Lakeside, DPS, Timber Mesa Fire, Snowflake Fire. All these agencies were working together and taking care of it. And none of us can do this by ourselves, and it really does take a team effort. And we're fortunate we have that team.
Oh, absolutely. And you did a great job as the chief there. You're coordinating a lot of those efforts going on. I know we had a lot of our members from the sheriff's office there, and like you said, and we spoke afterwards about how good it is to have working relationships on the mountain when a critical incident such as that comes, because nobody can handle that independently. It's just too much to investigate and too many leads to follow up on.
I agree, and like I said, unfortunately, if you travel around the country, a lot of places don't have those types of relationships, and our community is fortunate that we have that. And the other side of that is we enjoy the benefit of the community support because of it. Our community supports us greatly, and we appreciate that too.
In your 35 years, did I get the?
Yes.
Have you always seen that here on the mountain or within Navajo County, that cooperation between agencies?
I think we've always been that way, especially on the operational level. We've always gotten along very well and worked together to take care of business.
Well, you've probably seen a lot of these police departments and fire districts form during your tenure, haven't you?
Well, I know Pine Top Lakeside formed the year I went to the academy.
Oh, did they?
So, in fact, that's why I got a job, is because some officers left Sholo, went to Pine Top Lakeside's new department, and I back
How many positions were there in the 80s?
I want to say there was about 16.
16.
And how many do you have now?
We have 34.
So more than doubled
Yes.
in those 35 years.
And Pine Top's now a police department, and then you've seen the fire districts, and I'm sure Snowflake came online probably around that time too.
He did, and a lot of the fire departments have transitioned from volunteer to full-time, and then you saw the merger of districts, and all those things have worked to help improve service in the area.
And we're still seeing the volunteer agencies in the county on the fire side, but they're starting to become more. We're seeing so much growth in this county. Surprising that you guys have only gone from 16 to 35.
We have 34 sworn.
34.
Right now.
Probably need more than that.
And we are currently looking at that. One of the things the city is doing is a staffing study of our agency to look to see, what is the optimal staffing level, of what is the best structure, and where do we want to go as an agency, and to do that, what do we need?
That has to be a challenge because it's not insular, your 12,000 citizens, it's an influx of tens of thousands vacationers, seems like every weekend, and during the summer times that can really skew the need for how many officers you need on the street.
That's true. They say that the census population of the city is anywhere from 12 to 15,000, but we have a service population of approximately 95 to 100,000. That's all the people within a 50-mile radius who are coming in to go to, stores, go to school, use the hospital services, all these different services within the city that they come in to use. Plus, you have a large transitory community for tourism passing through. Numbers that we have seen, approximately 1.2 to 1.4 million cars a month travel down the Deuce Clubs.
What was that number again?
About 1.2 to 1.4 million cars travel through the community.
Wow.
So you look at those numbers, and you wonder why you can't make a left-hand turn.
I was going to say
I don't even try anymore.
Yeah, and you got a big project coming up on the Deuce Clubs for the next year.
Yes, there'll be
not you so much, but
but it's going to impact our traffic, and I'm sure accidents will increase because of that.
And so what is it they're going to do? They're going to resurface the whole, all 5 lanes?
That's my understanding. Resurface the Deuce, Highway 60 coming through town.
Any plan on putting in bicycle lanes?
I have not heard that.
Because we have a very active bicycling community up here.
Yes.
It'd be kind of nice if there was a safer place for them to go, or a little more shoulder for them to be on.
I agree. I'm not sure on the state side what they're planning to do as far as that goes. I know the city has, as they put in new streets, that tried to take that into consideration.
So you talked about a staffing study. What are some other things as chief of police? You've looked at this agency for 35 years. What are some things that you are looking forward to accomplishing or working on in the next couple of years?
One of the biggest things is I have 2.5 years left. We've had a number of our senior supervisors who've retired. We have a few more that are coming up on retirement. We're really in a transition stage, and it's real important now to start preparing We have some good up-and-coming supervisors. You know, they're young and they're talented, and it's getting them ready to take over. So it's really a transitional phase of getting the department ready for the next generation.
Taking over in the sense as of sergeants, or taking over in the sense as new commanders?
Both. New commanders, new sergeants, new lead officers, really all the way up the chain of command. You're going to see a shift over the next 5 years of a new generation taking over.
So what can you as the chief do to help these officers get those leadership skills that they need to be able to fill those roles?
Part of that is getting, the base of that is getting them the education they need, you know, getting them through the leadership courses, getting them through the command courses, getting them through the technical certifications they need. And then it's starting to apply that, of having them in the field, dealing with these incidents, applying incident command, and learning how to control these large-scale incidents, and that following incident command principles, and that teaches them how to integrate with other agencies and unified command. So it's working with them and getting them, giving them the skills, and then allowing them to apply those skills and become proficient in them.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you a question. There's a big difference between a street officer or a new explorer cadet like you were to the seat that you're sitting in, or even the seat you occupied as commander for a lot of years. What are some of the challenges that you as command staff deal with versus what a citizen would think just your street uniform patrol officer is dealing with?
I think as a patrol officer, you're responding, you know, you're looking at that call and you're looking, what do you need to do to resolve that problem? And as you go up the chain, you're looking, the chain of command, you're looking more towards, okay, you have that problem, but where is that problem affecting other places in the community? And how is that affecting us 6 months down the road, a year down the road? And so you're looking more long-term and looking more globally. And I think that's the biggest thing that as they become commanders and chiefs, and that they have to start focusing on, is getting the more global view, and not just solving that problem, but taking that problem and using it to help solve a lot of other problems.
So it sounds like they need some more analytical skills the further you move up the chain of command.
Yes. You know, it's analytical, it's business skills, it's people skills. You know, what I say leadership, but I don't mean it in the sense of the typical definition of, you know, leadership typically means getting things done through the efforts of others. I'm talking about leadership in that, you know, you have to have a variety of skills and you have to apply them in the right mixture. So you can be a great people person, but if you're not taking care of finances, you'll have happy people and be broke. You know, you have to apply a variety of skills and do it in the right manner. So you're dealing with the people issues, you're dealing with the finance issues, you're dealing with the planning issues, and doing that in across the board manner.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the responsibilities you carry as far as, you said, people skills, dealing with the public, meeting with the public, understanding their concerns, understanding what's happening in their neighborhood, because your officers, like you said, are responding, taking care of that call, but you as the chief and your command staff are working, how do we prevent this from occurring again?
Right.
And you're working on the budget, you're working on hiring, you're working on training, making sure all your officers, there's a dispatch center that you're running. I mean, you've got so many responsibilities that you're...
Probably a different set of people skills in dealing with a city manager, a mayor, and council members, a different set of skills, because they have their own priorities and concerns.
Right. Yes, and it's understanding, you know, what are they wanting to achieve? They have goals and the expectations and that, and you've got to understand their point of view in making your decisions as well.
So what are some of the biggest crime type of issues facing the community? I saw a post recently that we're having these car break-ins again,
right,
which seem to crop up every 3 or 4 months, it seems like.
You know, it seems to be across the board. I mean, we have the typical crimes you have of any community. It's just based on the scale. You know, we have domestic violence, we have DUIs, we have aggravated assaults. One of the biggest things we get is, you know, if you go on the crime statistics and you look, you know, you're a dangerous city based upon the numbers. If you look at the numbers, we're not any different than an average community our size. The problem is being that service population that comes in, we have a lot of shopliftings. from the box stores, from supermarkets, and that, which raises that. And then we also have the only major hospital in a 2-county radius. And anytime somebody assaults, pushes, spits on a nurse or a healthcare professional, it becomes an aggravated assault. So you'll see where there's a high number of shopliftings and assaults that are based in those 2 core areas. When you pull those numbers out, you know, we're about average for a community our size.
Like your neighborhoods and your
Yeah.
So are there proactive measures that you and the department are taking to help keep down any crimes going on and keep our lifestyle that we appreciate where, well, we shouldn't. Many of us don't lock our doors because we feel comfortable, though we should.
Right. You know, one of our biggest and most successful programs is the Senior Patrol Program. They're a volunteer group that patrols the neighborhoods. They do house checks, welfare checks on businesses, and that has been a huge help in cutting down burglaries and that. They find people that have left for the season and they left their doors unlocked, or they have a water leak or something like that. That's been a big help. We've worked extensively with loss prevention at the various stores on, you know, how to prevent shopliftings and the prosecution, and that's been successful. One area we're trying to improve and push out more is the social media of when we get information, you know, if a crime happened or we need information, pushing that out to the community and getting the community involved in that.
So with Senior Patrol, what are you looking for in your volunteers, and how would somebody go about volunteering for Senior Patrol?
So Senior Patrols need to be 55 years or older for that. Basically just have a clean driving record, no felonies. What you'd need to do is just stop by the PD. You can or you can go online, get an application for Senior Patrol. You do have to go through a background check and then a training program, and we integrate you into that.
And what time requirements are you expecting from them?
Usually they want you to ride about 16 to 24 hours a month is what they're looking for. They ride 2 Senior Patrol officers to a car, and they have 2 cars on a day, 5 days a week.
We've talked about you coming from the Explorer Cadet program. Does Shoalo still have one of those?
Yes, they do.
And how does that program work, and who is eligible to be a member of it?
That one's between age 14 and 21. That program, the kids join that, and they have classes, and they can do ride-alongs and that. And they basically start learning the job, and, you know, learning what's required. You know, a lot of it is teaching them good decision-making skills, so you're not making bad life decisions. So when you're eligible to be an officer, you're not failing the background because you're not meeting the requirements.
So how many kids do you have in that program? I shouldn't say kids if it goes up to 21, but how many participants do you have in that program?
I don't know the exact number, but I believe it was like 8 to 10.
And how often do they meet? What is their time commitment to be a participant?
Those usually they're meeting about once a month, and then they can come in and ride in that on, you know, as much as they want.
So they'll ride with your officers.
Yes, they can come out and ride, and that's where you learn. You know, you get out in the car with an officer, and you start talking to the officers and seeing what they do and learning how they do it and why they do it, and it's a great learning opportunity.
Then if there's a young man or woman out there that are interested in the Explorer program, how do they get a hold and sign up to participate?
Again, if they come in, if they contact the police department, if they were to ask for Justin Butler, he's the school resource officer at Shoalo Junior High. He is the cadet coordinator and the one that runs that program.
Same type of kind of a background check. They really don't have a criminal history as a juvenile, but
yeah, we still have to do a rudimentary background check. They still have to be fingerprinted, and they still have to meet those standards. And as long as they're not getting in trouble, and that we integrate them in.
Let's say they have been in trouble, but it's a bit more of a minor type of incident, maybe an underage consumption or disorderly conduct. Would they still be eligible?
They would be. You know, you look at each incident, and it's, you know, sometimes kids just need guidance and they need mentorship, and you know, if it's a minor issue, that's something we can work with. And
sometimes I think I should send some of the juvenile delinquents that come through the system, you know, maybe not to the program, but to something so they can really see from the other side what mayhem is caused by the actions they engage in.
But and any child, if they're 14 or over, with a parent's permission, they can come and do a ride-along. They're welcome to ride along with our officers and have that same opportunity.
You're seeing a lot of participation in that to join law enforcement. I know Arizona, and you've talked about the support locally. I feel the same. Support locally is very high. It's very strong, and I think it is across the state. But across the nation, we're seeing some ebb and flow of support or attacks on law enforcement. Of course, it's always a dangerous profession. But are you seeing less interest in cadets wanting to join, or are you seeing it still a profession that young men and women look up to?
Maybe not just cadets, but people interested as a whole.
Yeah. I think overall we've seen a decline in the number of applicants and that, and a lot of that's driven by the media and the feeling nationally towards law enforcement. There has been an impact, and it's not just us. I think across the state we've seen those numbers decline.
Yeah, I heard and I don't have the exact story, but I heard a story recently of Phoenix PD. Usually they'll have, they'll be hiring anywhere 100, 200 officers because it's such a large agency, and they only had 10 people show up for 100 positions or something like that. And then the numbers were just, it was scary.
It's a stressful occupation. My hats off to both of you for getting into it. You give up your weekends, give up your nights, stressful on the family.
Phone is always ringing, doesn't it?
It does. And one of the challenges we face is that we do get applicants in, but one of the cornerstones of this job is integrity. And you have to be honest, and people have to be able to take your word at face value because of what we do. And getting applicants in the door that understand that and, are honest through the process is a challenge, because that same level of integrity isn't always out the same. Not necessarily in the community, but in the country. And so getting people in and explaining to them that you have to be honest and disclose these things, and that's been a challenge, and I think it's one we're going to continue dealing with.
Yeah, because like you said, it is a big part of who we are, and as we as police, law enforcement leaders, as soon as we relax on that, then where does the community trust stop? And we've been experiencing the same thing, as just trying to get qualified applicants to get in there. But I enjoy nothing more than when you're at a community event and a parent or a grandparent introduces you to somebody and says, "Hey, my grandson, my son, they've always wanted to have an interest in law enforcement." I always make sure to spend a couple minutes to drive that home, because it started with me when I was young. I don't know about you. You're obviously an explorer, and we need to keep building on that and developing that interest in our profession.
Sheriff, one of the things I know you do is have like ice cream with the deputy. Does Show Low PD do anything else to really allow for interactions between you and your officers and the public in a more relaxed setting?
We do. What you talked about, the ice cream, we do with the kids every year at the beginning of school. We call it Chill with a Cop. And we go into like Nicholas Homestead Elementary and the junior high school, and we give every kid an Otter Pop, and we just spend time talking to them and give them a chance to ask us questions and just interact on a personal level. We also do programs like we'll be out at the barbecue throwdown, and we have a booth there, and we just rock around and talk with people and answer questions and tell them what's going on in the community. And so those types of events that we try to be at and interact and just get that one-on-one time with folks.
Yeah, that's important. Building that community trust and that community relations with the people you serve, when they start to, and that's something we push as well, is we want them to know our deputies, know our command staff on first name basis, and where they, business owners, homeowners, they can come and say, I've met so-and-so, and then they can feel comfortable calling us for a call for service.
Another area where we're partnering with the Sheriff's Office right now is I believe it's September, we're looking at trying to put on another Citizens Academy and do it more across the county of what law enforcement does in the county attorney's office, and from the time you make a traffic stop to the time you go to court, what is that process, and how does it impact people, and there's a lot of things that take place that people just don't understand that process, and so this is an opportunity for us to meet with people and educate them on what we do.
If people are interested in that Citizens Academy, when and where can they find out information about that if they want to attend?
They should be posting the applications for that first part of August.
And what type of time commitment will they have to participate? It doesn't sound like a one evening event.
Yeah, that'll be about 8 to 10 weeks, and it's about 3 hours a night. Usually they do it like a Wednesday night from like 6 to 9.
So one night a week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to that and appreciate that partnership doing that. We always enjoy sharing with the public what we do and how the process looks and what law enforcement looks like from the inside.
And as it happens every month, our time flies by so quickly. Thank you, Chief, for joining the Sheriff and I, and thank you for joining us this month on Shooting Straight with Brad and David, and please stay tuned for this month's Most Wanted.
Larson Brent Jensen has a valid and confirmed felony warrant for failure to appear on original charges of possession and dangerous drugs. Larson's last known address was Winslow, Arizona. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Larson, please call Navajo County Communications Center at 928-524-4050. Or to remain anonymous, please call WeTip at 1-800-78-CRIME.